Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stu here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what is happening here in Spain. We'll go into the papers and check out what is happening there. And then at the end of the video, we'll go into the comment section and take a look what's going on there also. Now, a bit of a shock yesterday for the so-called baby boomer generation here in Spain, people born between 1958 and 1977. The Social Security Minister, Mr. Escrivá, announced yesterday that that generation is either going to have to work longer or take a cut to their pensions. As we can see here, Mr. Escrivá announces that the baby boomers will have to choose between a small adjustment to their pension or work a little bit more. And we can see below that the social agents have rejected this proposal for the future generations of pensioners. And as I said before, a lot of people in that baby boomer generation here in Spain not happy with the minister's words yesterday. And such was the outcry yesterday from this generation that the minister has been forced to come out today and say that he made a mistake. As we can see here, Escrivá rectifies his words about the adjustments and the sustainability of the pension system. I was misunderstood, he says. So what an absolute mess the pension system here in Spain appears to be. As we know, reforms to the pension system here in Spain are part of the agreement that Spain has with the European Union in order to get their hands on that aid package, but obviously what the government has in mind for pension reform is not what people want to hear. And I, for one, don't want to be told that I'm going to have to work longer or take a cut to my pension. And the Spanish expression pagar los platos rotos comes to mind. Future generations of pensioners having to pay for mistakes in the past. So it looks as though any type of reform to the pension system here in Spain is not going to be popular. Now, as we know, unfortunately, the country is again suffering a spike in coronavirus cases, especially among some of the younger generations here. And governments around the country are now talking about bringing in more restrictions when it comes to nightlife. As we can see here, the increase in cases among the younger generations is obliging the autonomous communities to adjust restrictions to nightlife. And remember that nightlife only reopened in the majority of autonomous communities about 3 weeks ago. As we know, this outbreak originated in Mallorca and it is slowly spreading around the country. And today it has been reported that 10 of the students that were released from that COVID hotel in Mallorca have tested positive on arrival home. So the Delta variant of COVID-19 continues to spread around the country, particularly among the younger generations. And let's hope that the Spanish government doesn't follow the Portuguese government and bring back curfews. Now, vaccines are making headlines again today here in Spain, especially with the advance of the Delta variant. And we can see here that German specialists recommend combining AstraZeneca with Pfizer or Moderna to stop the Delta variant. So not sure exactly what they mean there, but possibly hinting that the AstraZeneca vaccine is not effective against new variants. And I'm not sure whether they mean that people that are completely vaccinated with AstraZeneca will have to have another type of vaccine, or people that have only had one dose of AstraZeneca will have to have a second dose with either Pfizer or Moderna. And I imagine that the general thought is that the RNA vaccines are better when it comes to variants like the Delta variant. So we'll see how this story develops. Now today, the phenomenon known as Operación Salida begins in Spain. People start their summer holidays. And as we can see here, they're expecting some 4.4 million people to begin their holidays and travel around the country. And today is going to be a day when Spanish roads are very, very busy, especially the roads that head from the inland parts of the country to the coast. As we saw yesterday, internal tourism here in Spain is back to pre-pandemic levels, back to 2019 levels, and the majority of holidaymakers here in Spain this year, especially in the coastal areas, are going to be locals. Foreign tourism is not expected to recover this year because too many countries still have mainland Spain as a no-go zone. So domestic tourism is going to be the one to save the summer tourist season in Spain in 2021. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from James. At Malaga Airport, we are delivering 15 to 20 cars a day. It's mostly to Europeans, although some Brits are arriving too. Even if the cars have sat for a long time, we prep them the day before, replace batteries if needed, take them for a service, etc. before the customers arrive. We have more work on at the moment than we have had in the last year. I use the Salud Responde app to book an appointment at the Palacio de Congresos in Malaga. I didn't wait for them to send me a message. Yeah, James, thanks for the comment, and good to see that business is finally picking up down there in Malaga. We saw a comment yesterday from somebody who said that she had car problems in Alicante. They arrived at Alicante Airport, went to pick up her parents' car that had been sitting still for the last 16 months, and they had problems with it. So good to see that you guys offer a service down there in Malaga for cars that are in a similar situation. And when it comes to getting an appointment for a vaccine here in Spain, it's a good idea, as you said there, to get on the front foot, book your own appointment and not wait for them to get in contact with you. I imagine that the majority of autonomous communities around the country now have an online booking system. That's what I did here in Madrid, and if you want to get it out of the way, it's probably the best thing to do. One here from JMG. Hi Stuart, my name is Jose, and although I'm Spanish, you are the only YouTuber who I see all the videos that you upload. The answer is simple. I think you are the person who speaks English that I like to hear the most, both for the accent and for the clarity of your pronunciation. Thank you very much for your work. Yeah, Jose, thanks for the comment. Glad you like the videos and glad you like my pronunciation. Unfortunately, not everybody would agree with you there. I have seen some nasty comments over the years criticizing my accent, people telling me that I don't speak English very well, but thank you very much for those kind words. And I think it's due to the fact that I have been an English teacher for the last 20 years here in Spain, so you need to speak clearly if you want to be understood. And let's be honest, what's the point of speaking if nobody understands what you're saying? One here from Jim. Hi Stuart, well I never. Madrid, the capital of Europe for Spanish. It's another high-paying non-job. What complete nonsense and a slap in the face for taxpayers who face rises in electricity and fuel prices. Yeah, Jim, thanks for the comment. Obviously referring to that piece of news that we saw yesterday about a new job that has been created for one of Ms. Ayuso's friends, Tony Canto, a job in which he will be responsible for making sure that Madrid is seen as the Spanish-speaking capital of Europe. And a lot of people here in Spain very critical about this new position. One politician said yesterday that he couldn't believe that somebody is going to get paid 75,000 euros para rascarse los huevos. So that's the general sentiment at the moment regarding this new position. And the irony here is that when Mr. Canto was a politician for another political party, one of his main crusades was to stop this type of chiringuito político, which is what it's called here. In English, jobs for the boys. But as we know, it happens here, it happens there, it happens everywhere, unfortunately, in modern democracies. One here from Ian. Almeria airport was empty, plane was half full. Ian, thanks for the comment. We also mentioned this yesterday, that a lot of the smaller airports here in Spain, for example, the one you mentioned there in Almeria, in Alicante, and another one I mentioned yesterday in Murcia, are not really seeing a lot of flights arrive, especially international flights, and there are not many flights coming in from the UK, which is to be expected. We saw another comment from somebody say that their flights to Bilbao were cancelled because obviously Bilbao is not a very important airport either, but I imagine the situation is different when it comes to some of the more busier airports here in Spain, for example Madrid, Barcelona, Malaga, and Palma de Mallorca. But as we know, there's not a lot of hope for foreign tourism in Spain this summer. A lot of countries, as I mentioned before, don't want their citizens to visit mainland Spain. So unfortunately, I imagine it's going to be very quiet at a lot of the smaller airports in Spain this summer. And finally, one here from Andrew. Wow, Stuart, your garden has blossomed very nicely in the Spanish sunshine, looking as sparkling. Yeah, Andrew, thanks for the comment and for the compliment on the garden. It has recovered in recent times. It was destroyed by the snowstorm that we had earlier in the year. I didn't think it was going to recover. I had to cut a lot of things back, but the majority have regrown. And I'm very happy with the way the garden is looking at the moment. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.